Hello, everyone. Welcome to what has become a kind of rare Secrets of Eventide stream. I haven't been able to do a lot of these over the past few months. I haven't had a lot of new content to go over. The summer's been a bit of a challenge on that front. But considering I missed a few streams because of illness and heat, I figured, you know what, I should do one of these. It's been a while. And these streams are always kind of fun. These streams, if you haven't been in one of these before, tend to be more behind the scenes, more about how things work, more dealing with things that I haven't really fully developed yet. And in some cases, they're here to be brainstorms, which is what today's stream is going to be. So I see we got a couple folks here in chat. That's good. Welcome everybody. I do want to stress here at the beginning, this is a brainstorm, so if you want to contribute ideas, I will take them. But understand, by participating in this stream, you are giving up rights to those ideas. I can't pay you for them. We can't find a way for you to have any ownership of them. They have to be mine, otherwise I can't use them. So if you're not comfortable with that, no worries, just don't participate. So that is that. Now, before I dive right into this, I do want to talk a bit to the folks who are here and any folks who might catch this on demand later about the kind of state of Eventide, where we're at, where we're going, and the state of the Patreon. Things have been difficult. I'm not going to lie, to be totally honest with everybody here. Between an incredibly packed beginning of the year at Paizo, and frankly, some challenges on my personal life, some of which will become more apparent soon. Just been busy. It's been a very, very packed and busy month, and I honestly haven't been able to put in as much time into Eventide as I would like. I should be further along than where I am right now. Part 2 should be off to edit, and it's still not, of Wolfran's Fate. And the player's guide should be nearly done, and I'm just not there yet. I'm hoping to clear one of the larger procedural roadblocks here in the next few days, and that's to get the rest of the Hope Finder stuff out of my hands. But it's just been busy. And as a result, we've lost a fair number of patrons. That's not a terrible thing, right? I understand folks gotta go, and, the process has been slow. I do think I'm going to pause payment for at least a month, but continue to put out content. Just to give everyone a break and kind of a mea culpa on that from my end, because I feel bad about not being able to produce content. This month in particular has been very tough. But I am starting to think that maybe long-term the Patreon may need to transition. Right now it's all about Eventide, and that's good, and I'm going to continue working on Eventide. It is still a passion of mine. But I do think that it might be better served for me personally and professionally, and for all of you, if I retool the thing and make it more of a Jason makes stuff, and that way I don't. There's this weird thing right now where I kind of feel guilty about working on other things that excite me, and I think it excites all of you as well. But I recognize that folks are here for Eventide, and that's the thing I'm trying to deliver on. But I've got other ideas too, and other things I'm trying to make, and I'm kind of scatterbrained at times, and will bounce between projects, and I don't want to feel bad about doing that, right? I want to be able to support, this, all of you. This would also probably come with a change in the rates. The rates right now, I think, are a little high for Patreon. And I appreciate all the support all of you have given. I've sunk all of that money into art and editing. And frankly, it's the only thing that has allowed this project to go forward, because it's so expensive. But going forward, that might need to change a little bit. So I don't know yet. I'm interested in all of your thoughts in particular, because if you have access to this, it means you're in one of the higher tiers. And I do want your thoughts and opinions on that. I don't always feel like I'm giving everyone everything that it's worth. I haven't been able to release a lot yet. But I want to change that. And it's just going to take time. I need some things to settle out first. Anyway, let's get on to this brainstorm here. So, the brainstorm here today, we're talking about Wyrmbone. I got a quick question about what I'm thinking as far as subject matter. So, Hope Finder was done separate to this. And if I were to do something else like that in the future, I would just wrap it into the Patreon. Everyone in the Patreon would get it for free. You would get insight into its creation. You know, I would use parts of the Patreon just to talk about it. Like, it doesn't have to be all Eventide all the time. It could be everything. Everything I'm doing that isn't under contract for another company. So, and you would then get all of that, right? You know, based on your tier and, you know, either free or at a big discount. So, that's what I'm thinking about. As far as what specific subject matter, I don't want to give the ghost just yet. But I've got another idea for another hack that I'm playing around with. That could be really cool. I've got another one too. I don't know. I keep playing around with ideas. I'm a tinkerer at heart. This is one thing you will quickly learn about me if you haven't hung out with me or followed me for a long period of time. And I realize that many of you have. That I am at my heart, at the darkest corner of my heart, I am a tinkerer. And I am constantly kind of tinkering with things and playing with things. So, anyway. So, let's get to this brainstorm here, because I don't have infinite time today. I've got another stream coming up after this, and I need some time to transition. So, I want to hop on over and start talking about Wyrmbone. So, one of the things that I've come to realize is Wyrmbone feels pretty detailed to me. But I'm also free to make stuff up and ad-lib things and then just add it as I go. But, looking at the list of locations, and I'm just counting them here right now. I'm just going to run through all of the locations here real quick that exist. I'm going to do this lightning fast. Because there's not a lot of them. There is Astromari's house. This is a temple to Astromari. This is where Father Yag works. He's the one that's on the council. The ownership of Wyrmbone. The ownership, the council that governs Wyrmbone. There's the Barrel House. This is a brewery that has a tap room. There's the Belching Blackguard. It is an illegal still and gambling den. There is the Catacombs, a morbid but inexpensive inn where you stay in a literal catacomb. There's Silara's Wandering Shrine. This is a shrine to Silara that moves from place to place. There is the Eight Horse Inn. The Eight Horse Inn is a coaching inn for merchants and travelers run by goblins. There is the Foot of Mercy. This is a smaller shrine to Astromari, run by Mother Yurla. She appears in part 2 of Wolfrun's Fate. There is Heart of the Wood, an expensive gemstone merchant. There is the House of Order, the ostentatious shrine to Valanav, the god of law and order. There's Ingot, the blacksmith, that's located right near Wolfrun's Tower. There's the Perfect Knot, a wood sculptor and gallery. The Roaming Ogre, which is a shop catering to adventurers and explorers. Skygaze Inn, which is an inn built inside of an observatory. Soupstone, which is a communal kitchen out in the fields. Stonefang Tavern, which is a rowdy traveler's tavern right across from Wolfrun's Tower. Teetering Tower, which is an esoteric bookshop and curio museum. Veryl's Sleep, which is a mysterious apothecary where the owner is perpetually napping at the front desk. The Waysong Guild, which is a guild, a group of folks that guide visitors around town. Wolfrun's Last, which is the shop and museum dedicated to Wolfrun. Those are the locations that I've come up with. Now, there are a few more. There's the Black Thumb, that's the print shop. And that should probably be included in the list, as it does appear in the adventure. Black Thumb is the home to the secretive Dawnbringer organization. So there's Black Thumb, and then there was Green. There's a tea shop as well, called Greenleaf. So here's where I'm at. I've got all these locations. A bunch of them appear in Wolfrun's Fate, but frankly, it's not enough for a whole town. This is a town of several thousand people, and there's like 4 taverns, if that. Right? There's, let's see, Barrel House, which is a brewery and tap house. Belching Blackguard, which is a secretive gambling den. The the 8-Horse Inn, and Skygaze Inn, technically, Stone Fang Tavern. And that's it. So that's 5, and 2 of them are inns. So, you know, and if we're counting inns, there's 3 inns on this list. It's just not enough, right? So what I was thinking about here for today is to do a bit of a brainstorm, just to come up with more ideas. So here's where I'm at. I want to come up with, we'll start with easy stuff. And we'll do inns, taverns, you know, and the like. So my thought on this is, you know, if you're interested, feel free to throw up an idea into chat. I'll maybe workshop it, maybe add it to the list. We'll see about getting it put into the world. Why not? And if I don't see much, I'll just riff on things. So what we've got here is, what we don't have, I guess, is we don't have a nobles bar. Off the top of my head, there's not a bar. There's the Skygaze Inn, but there's not like a tavern for the wealthy folks. So I'm thinking maybe some sort of hunting tavern, maybe gem related, because it'll be in the gem tree district, you know, but it's ostentatious. So, let me think here. Rich Hunter's Tavern. I don't know what to call it yet. Let's see. Something like the Falcon... Falcon and something. I like where this is going. Something ostentatious and hunter related. Falcon and Feather? Falcon and... The Falcon and Flagon? Yeah, I kind of like it. Has a bird in the bar. For kind of young, rich nobles to get a drink after their hunt. So, I see that there is an idea right now for a tavern that functions as the criminal underbelly if you go in behind the bar. I already have something like that, so I'm not sure I want exactly that. So, Belching Blackguard is an illegal still and gambling den that is also the hub of minor criminal activity. Like, you can go in there and there's like a criminal job board where you can go and like pull a tag and get a job. Platinum Arrow? That's not a bad name either. I'm going to hold on to that. I don't know. I'll play around with it. I like Platinum Arrow's not bad. That's not bad. So, Belching Blackguard, yeah, it is kind of the criminal underbelly bar that I got going on. But that said, I definitely need, that's perhaps the only one out in the field right now. I definitely need like a fest hall for folks to gather at the end of the day and drink, like out in the fields as well, someplace that isn't a secret. So that's what I'm thinking, someplace out in the fields, and maybe this is where a more rustic name comes in. Platinum Arrow maybe is the name for the rich Dirk Tavern, but some Falcon and Flagon is too rustic. I wouldn't go maybe Falcon, but some name that's like that, like the you know, the Bale and Barrel, right? That I think I might have just gotten it. Bale and Barrel, a fest hall bar, fest hall style bar out in the fields. Oh, yeah, no worries, Alex. You're all good. Silver Crescent Lounge. I'm going to add that to the list as well. I'm not sure which one I'm going to go with. And maybe the answer is to go with, like, Silver Arrow or something like that. And mix the two. But I do like Silver Crescent Lounge. That's a good idea. I'm going to add that to the list of possible names. I don't know what I'll settle on, but we'll see. I like Bale and Barrel. Bale and Barrel. Rolls off the tongue. Just like a barrel. This should be a real raucous place. Music. Dancing. And lots of cheap ale. I like that a lot. Where else do I need a bar? I could use a tavern in the Tumbles. Or the Jumbles? Yeah. This is the district filled with artisans and craftsmen. So I could use like a real workers. Like not field workers, not folks that not farmer. That's the fest hall. What I need now is an idea for a tavern that is more like the tavern that folks go to at the end of the day after a long shift. Not Cheers, but that, right? You know, that this is where folks from various guilds and whatnot come and have a pint, and it's probably pretty blue collar kind of place. The festival with all the contests, was that part 2 or 3? I'm struggling to remember. Could bring a ton of pop-ups, kind of like a Renaissance fair. Yeah, and I even did have some, but they're not named. So that might be an interesting direction to explore, is that some of these pop-ups might fit into that kind of category of places that are also other businesses. Every Man's Respite, that's not bad. I'm gonna put that down. I'm gonna put down bar for workers and craftsmen, crafters, and guild folk to gather and drink. Real ordinary folk kind of place. Every Man's Respite, maybe. The reason why I brainstorm these things, by the way, naming things is hard. I always have trouble naming things. It's always a struggle. I'll bounce around between 4 different names before I finally come upon the one that I like. Right? If you look at some of the names that are in here, like Foot of Mercy, the 8-Horse Inn, those all had dozens of names before they finally settled. Now, I do already have the 8-Horse Inn, actually, now that I'm thinking about it. This is the coaching inn for merchants and travelers. So this is the place run by goblins. What I should probably have is one that's run, that's like, let's focus it in a little bit and make it specifically about woodcraft. So a lot of the guild's folk here are, a lot of the guilds in Wyrmbone have to deal with wood, right? Either, harvesting gem wood, harvesting lumber, carving it, turning it into sculptures. So having a bar that is some ways tied to that might be good. So this is where I'm going to get into the tricky bit of, like, I'm going to go ahead and grab a window here and just go and look up tools for wood carving. And I'm going to look at the names here. And most of the tools are just parts of sets. Got chisels. Let me look at names. Knife, chisel, spoon, rasp, riffers, mallets. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of different types. There's the chip carving knife, chisel, U gouges, V gouges, bent and spoon gouges, skewed chisel, palm tools, mallets, whole bunch of power tools. So let's look up terms that have to do with wood. Timber, planks, lumber, firewood, kindling, logs. Okay. How about... So there's knots. Types of defects in woods. You can get cracks, shakes, ring galls, chemical stains, knots, dry rot. I do like knot. Knot might be a good word. I like how it implies things tied together. Even though, in this case, its implication is wood, right? A knot in wood. Wind cracks, shakes, twisted fibers. Oh, that's really weird. Upsets, ring galls, burls. Yeah, boy, I'm thinking knot. So something knot. The twisted knot, the carver's knot, sculptor's knot. I don't know. Anybody got anything to work with that? Knot. Twisted knot. The knot. Let me look at thesaurus. Wood worker, artisan, builder, craftsman, carpenter. Knotted chisel, woodworker's rest. I like both those. Those are both good. Let me look up, logger? Shantyman. I'm looking up old words for lumberjack. Knotty carver? I like that one. I'm not sure I'm going to go with it, but I'm going to write it down because it's funny. Forrester, Sar, Jack. Yeah, it really does. All right. All right, I'm going to leave this one for now. We're going to move on. Okay. Don't want to spend too much time on this one. Let's talk inns. Places where you can stay. Right now, I've got the catacombs. This is you're literally staying in old catacombs. There's the 8-Horse Inn. This is the merchant and traveler place. There is the... Oh, I do have a place called Perfect Knot. Damn it. Huh. Okay. I forgot about that. And then there's the Skygaze Inn. So, I could probably use... Oh, wait. Does... I forget if that place has... Stonefang Tavern does not have any room. No. Just a bar. So, I could definitely use another couple inns. These places won't necessarily get giant descriptions. They'll just be there as other places to explore. And, frankly, I do want to leave some places that are just like, yep, this place exists, but you can flesh it out, right? You can make it what you want it to be. So, let me think here. We've got one expensive place, the Skygaze. We've got a medium price place, that's the 8-Horse, and we have a cheap place, the Catacombs. We could use another cheap place, like, you know, the Field Rest, right? You know, the Field Bench, right? A cheap tavern or inn located out in the fields. Just a place where people can stay. If they don't have a place, it's real cheap, but you're basically staying in a hostel. Oh, we could call it a barn. The field barn? A shoe boot shop called Shoegaze. I'll add it to the list here down towards the bottom. Oh, it's pronounced like Shugazi. So Shoegaze would be a cobbler. Field bench, field barn. It could have a name like the Blue Barn, just because that's its color, right? Something like that. I like barn. I like that you're going and staying in a barn. Tower View Hostel? That's not a bad idea. I like that there's maybe a cheap place that where you can stay and have a view of Wolfram's Tower. I like that idea. And maybe it's just called Tower View, right? Empty purse. I like that too. I'm writing down all these. Which ones I use, I don't know, but I'm going to write them all down for now. So let's think, let's move away from the cheaper kind of hostels. And let's instead think a little bit about mid-level taverns and inns. I honestly don't think the city needs very many wealthy inns, because the wealthy in the town have houses, right? They don't need that. right? So I have the Sky Gaze in. I'm not sure I need more than that. But I definitely could use another kind of, at least one or two mid-level inns. Maybe with an interesting twist to them. So we've got the 8-horse inn. It's run by goblins. We've got... so I'm thinking we should definitely have a halfling run establishment. I don't think I have too many of those, and halflings are a big part of the setting. We could also do something where there's a gloamling. Like one of these hostels could be run by gloamlings. The Tower View hostel could be run by gloamlings. That could be interesting. I like the idea of that. But we could also give it some other weird twists, like I really like one of the my most favorite things that I've designed for this setting is the Sky Gaze Inn. It's an old elven telescope observatory, and they redid it to be an inn, and you can like sit at the high table where the eyepiece is. You know, and that's the rich place in town. So having a place that's kind of interesting, you know, it could be, we could have a place that was built in the, in like the fiery ruins of something that burned down during the dragon attack. Ice and Shadow. Maybe. What do you mean by ice and shadow? I'm interested in that. I mean, I know that the area gets cold, and gloamling's kind of like shadow, but what type of shop is that? Is that a shop? Feels like a shop. Could be a bar. Like a secret bar. Maybe. But not necessarily one... Like, I've got the Belching Blackguard, which is specifically criminal. This one could just be secret. So maybe... so I'm thinking of, like, maybe a mid-level... maybe... nah. Oh, yeah. No. Spitball's welcome. I mean, in the context of the stream. So I don't know, we could do one, with, I don't know, I always like to make my locations kind of interesting. So the Stone Fang has one of the dragon's fangs mounted. The 8-horse inn is run by goblins and is kind of your average, perfectly midline fantasy tavern. Clumping speakeasy. Yeah, it could be. I do like the idea, you know, I'm gonna put that in there, Alex. I'm gonna add short fall tools. So I'm gonna write that down, even though that is currently pretty similar to the Wandering Ogre, which is also a halfling run place that sells explorer's gear. But that doesn't mean that there isn't still some idea there to play around with. I do like the idea of a place that specifically sells tools. So maybe instead of it being gear, maybe it's specifically tools and kits. Like, you go there to get your set of climbing tools and stuff. Or, you know, your woodworking tools and stuff like that, right? Halfling rivals, yeah. So interestingly enough, the Roaming Ogre is a bit of a shady shop. They try and sell some shady stuff. So, you know. I just came up with an idea for a place called Last Light. And it is just a basic tavern with some Eventide theming. But it's all superficial. Like, it has some paintings and stuff, but they're all recent. It's like the Applebee's of Eventide places. The booster seat. Step stool, bed and breakfast, the booster seat. I like both those. I'm gonna write both those down. I think I might not go with booster seat just because of its child implications, but I still like it as a concept. I like that maybe the step stool B&B, like, I could see a world in which, you know, and maybe it goes with a different name, but is, like, it's only sized for small characters. Halflings, goblins, glomlings, they're the only ones that can go there. I like that as an idea. I think that that has some merit, because there's this assumption that everyone, you know, builds everything for humans and stuff. And if you're a halfling, like, you go down to Crownbog, most of the places are not sized for you. You have to go to specifically one of the places made for the big people, because goblins don't bother. Why would they take up the extra space? They're not going to use it. Alex, I see what you're doing there. I don't know that I want this town to have a brothel. I'm not sure that's the type of thing I'm going for. I'll write it down. I'm going to think about it. I'm not shy of, you know, having sexual content in my games. That's not what I'm getting at. I'm just not sure Wyrmbone's the type of town that would have that. No, I'm gonna write it down and think about it. I just don't think I'm gonna include it. I do think there are places where I would include something like that in the setting. You know, but frankly, I'd want to think long and hard about how I want to present sex workers in the game, because I don't want them to be exploited and treated like trash in my setting, right? That's not what I'm here for. Okay. I'm getting a lot of ideas here, folks. I've only got a few minutes left here before I want to wrap it up. I do want to be done here in about 5 minutes. So, let's open it up to just any idea. Any location that comes to mind. Doesn't have to be a bar, doesn't have to be a tavern. Let's think shops. What kind of, I mean, obviously I have adventurer shops. Those are the ones I focused on. Oh, here's the blacksmith. But there's only one blacksmith. All right, you. But there's only one blacksmith in town, and that's Ingot. I definitely need more blacksmiths. You know, there's one shop that sells adventuring gear. There's one shop that sells alchemical stuff. I could use just more shops in general. Not all of them have to be for PCs either, right? You know, this is the place that, you know, you go to get, like, shoes is a thing, right? You know, there's a cobbler, right? I've already got one of those written down now. But I'm kind of open to kind of anything at this point. Because frankly, the town could just use more stuff. Now I can just sit here and be like, you know what it also needs? It definitely needs someone who is a dedicated high-end Boer Fletcher, right? So, and, you know, some place called Drawstring, right? You know. Place where you get nice bows and arrows, right? You know, sure. Drawstring. Or maybe, I don't know. Some other name. I like that idea, Mike. Alex, let's see. History, Dragon, a shop, library, hybrid. You know what I don't have? I don't have any schools or anything. I haven't figured that out. I figure most kids learn via, but I don't have a library. I like the idea of that. Halfling shop sells riding dogs. I have no... The bit and bark? The bit and bark. That's what I'm going to call it for right now. I don't know that I'm... I have to be careful not to have too many names that are just this and that, right? Dragon / worm. Yeah, maybe. 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 I mean... It could be called Wormbook. Right? Wyrmbone. They could call it Wormbook. Now that you got me riffing. Wormbook. Go to Wormbook. That's the library in Wyrmbone. Called Wormbook. People aren't good at naming things. One thing that you learn when you dig into history at all is that people aren't good at naming things. Like, a lot of places that, you know, it'll be like, oh, that has a really cool sounding name. Oh, it's translated from this language. What's the name of that river? It's called Long River. Oh, okay. What's the name of that hill over there? Oh, it's called Gray Hill. And it's just in a different language. Oh, okay. Saddled Journey. I like that. I'm going to write that down. Mounts. I like the Faded. Perhaps a bit more than I would do. But some of these I might recycle and use in Vernathus or something like that. I don't know. We'll see. Wormbook. I like Wormbook. Wormbook is, I think, what I'm going to go with. I like the idea that there's a library called Wormbook. That's just funny. Okay. Where are we at here? All right. Last call. I'm going to do last call here. Give me your last idea. I want one more idea from each of you. Whatever you got. Gem store, perfume shop, fur seller, carrot, wholesale retailer. What do you got? Give me one more, and then we're going to call it. What am I thinking of here? Other things that adventurers care about. I don't have an armor smith. I've got ingot, but I don't specifically have an armor smith. I don't know what I would call it. I could call it something like Oakheart. And it's got, features a suit of wooden armor outside. The Parched Earth. I like it. Parched Earth, a vegetarian restaurant. I like it. And there is a printing press. That's the Black Thumb. The town definitely does not need 2 printing presses. But I do like the idea of a tattoo shop. Especially if it's just called The Scar. Alex, you're fine. I think having a vegetarian restaurant is not a terrible idea, to be honest. You know, I don't know. Like I said, folks, when it comes to stuff like this, you know, names are going to change. Things are going to be shifted around. Things are going to be moved. Some ideas will make it. Some ideas won't. Brainstorms are all about getting as much down as quickly as possible. And here today, we have come up with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20 ideas. 20 ideas to add to the settings. So that is pretty great. That's pretty productive. But alas, folks, I am now out of time. That's all I got here for today. I'm going to make sure to save that up. Folks, I want to thank you for hanging out here today. We got a small crowd. This one was announced kind of at the last minute, and I haven't done one in a while, so I'm going to try and do these a little bit more often, even if they're just brainstorms like this. I think these are fun, and it fires me up to get more stuff done. So I want to thank you all for stopping by. I want to thank you for hanging out. If you're watching this video on demand and want to participate and are willing to donate your ideas, feel free to leave them on the comments on this video, and I'll check them out. I'm happy to check those out and take a look at them as things go forward. All right, folks, that's what I have here today. Thank you for watching. Thank you for your support. I'm going to continue to think about how I'm going to use this Patreon in the future. I do like, you know, I'm still going to be working on Eventide stuff, but when other stuff comes up, I don't want to leave the folks on this Patreon feeling like they're in the lurch because I'm working on something else, because that's how my brain works. But we'll figure it out. Thank you for watching, everybody. We'll see you next time.